is up, squad? It's the Guru here, and welcome back to Tapout or Cashout. I'm here with my co-host,
Andre Petroski.
And we got a new guest today, episode 2, Ryan
Cafaro.
Ryan Cafaro. I said it that way because I wasn't sure how to pronounce his last name. We hear like 3 different pronunciations, so I might as well ask the man himself. Coming off a huge CFFC victory, guys, and he had a great commentator there as well. My man Andre was on the mic. Dre, what'd you see? Tell us about it.
It was an honor to commentate such a beautiful knockout. Ryan's here joining us, coming off his 12th victory in the cage.
Yep, 12.
For CFFC. It was a great fight.
Yeah, man. So
Thanks
let's go
for coming,
round
bro.
by round, bro. How were you feeling, right? So initially, like if you guys didn't check out the fight, it was action-packed from the opening bell. Ryan, I think you got dropped twice in the first round, right?
So the first round, there was a I rewatched it, and there was the first drop is kind of like a headbutt.
Okay.
We clash heads, and then he throws punches. So I'm like kind of stunned from the head clash, and then I hit the ground, and then on the way up he punched me in the eye where my eye started bleeding.
Okay.
And that was wild because then it was like everybody's, you've seen Rocky movies and things like that, but this was the first time someone punched me and I literally saw double.
Really?
So I'm like, I immediately start moving left and right because I was like, I don't know which one to hit, and I was like, there's one on the left and one on the right. And then the second exchange I don't even remember. I came in with a combination, and then he planted and threw 6 punches, and I thought the exchange was going to end because most people won't throw 6 punches.
It just kept coming.
And all of a sudden it was like if I had binoculars and someone just flipped them up aggressively. I was like, where am I? Whoa, whoa, whoa. And then I just dove for his leg, and I got his leg. And then, but as soon as I hit the ground, I was completely cognizant. I knew what was going on. And my coach, Tyler McBride, who's a really good wrestler from Camden Catholic originally, and is a Ricardo Almeida Jiu-Jitsu black belt. We watched a lot of tape on Ricardo Fuentes, my opponent, and we noticed he has really good back attacks. Okay. And when he jumped on my back, we had been preparing for his rear naked choke attacks for well over a month straight. Right. And then, so I defended that the way I was supposed to. Andre brought it up on commentary that you're supposed to get your back to the mat and get your hips flat to keep to get rid of the space that your opponent is covering between you and the mat. Okay. So I was trying to flatten myself to the mat, and then we scrambled, and then it almost seemed like he let me up because he was worried about me guillotining him or something.
Yeah, it did seem like he let you get back to the feet, and like, not to cut you off, but one thing I noticed that he left out, dude, when normal people get dropped, like they kind of look deflated, discouraged a little bit. Yeah. It looked like an absolute animal came out of you. It's like he almost enjoyed it, bro. He saw his face. It literally was one of those scenes from a movie, like you said. He just was like, dude, I was like, oh my gosh, like that. Like, did you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And then he was just, the other dude was done by the end of the fight. Imagine being on the other side of that. You think you drop somebody twice in a round, you're ready to go, and then somebody just comes harder at you. What did that feel like? Do you remember doing it? Do you remember that rush? Because I saw it. I know it happened.
I just remember being like, as soon as I get to my feet, I need to go after this guy. Yeah. Like, maybe I didn't even have a train of thought. I think I was just in kill mode.
Just animal instinct, pure animal instinct.
And it was like, my very last spar, I was walking people down in sparring, which is obviously not the highest IQ maneuver because I was absorbing a lot of punches with my face, but it was doing something to his psyche for sure. Yeah. Because, like you said, most people, they get up and they're like, all right, I rocked him. It almost looked like he let me up so he could try to drop me again. Yeah. But instead, I just got right in his face.
Dude,
and was like,
it was incredible. Yeah. If you guys haven't watched the fight, make sure you go watch the fight. And there was 2 more rounds. What, 3rd round finish, right? Third round finish. And if you want to talk us through the finish.
Did you get the bonus?
I got both.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Rob did performance of the night and fight of the night.
Yeah.
And you got both of them.
I'm like the Korean Gaethje baby.
Wow.
I'm here to excite. I'm here to ignite and excite. But yeah, and then when I went back to the corner of the first round, I told Malik, I told him, I said, I lost the round, but he's fading. And I could tell for sure. And then the second round, and if you look at the end of the first round, I started trying an up elbow. Okay. That I was throwing a lot.
I did call it out in the fight. Andre, he went for that elbow.
Andre was saying like he's throwing this elbow a lot, and it was kind of my plan because when I watched tape on Ricardo Fuentes, he has really good boxing, but he doesn't throw a lot of kicks, and he doesn't throw anything like knees or elbows. He's just very boxing and very grappling oriented. Okay. So I thought if he's and when he throws, he plants and then throws. A lot of fighters, when you throw at them, they run and they move back initially. It's like the MMA defense is a lot of the time is to move back like 3 feet. And
so
then,
you thought his head would be there for the elbow?
Because he wouldn't move back.
Right.
He would just plant and throw. So I said, all right, if we're going to both plant and throw, I'm going to jump in with this lead up elbow. And then I tried it probably like 4 times before I cut him.
But when he came off after the second round, and they said 3 cuts, 3 different elbows, right?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. I thought it was, I saw the 3 different elbows, but I thought it was the same cut.
Yeah.
And because you can see in the clip, Ryan keeps pointing at him like, got you.
Dude, you guys got to watch this fight. I forgot about that. Dude.
Yeah.
So I pointed every time I cut him.
Yeah.
Because I was noticing it. The first time I smashed him, and then I started seeing blood, and then I thought of Liam Harrison. They were bringing up Dustin Poirier doing like the point, but when you watch Liam Harrison's fights in Muay Thai in England and Thailand and stuff, he would cut people and then he would point and run and be like, and then the ref would stop it. And then a lot of times the fight would be over. And I remember being in the fight. I was like, oh, he's cut. And I was like, please stop the fight.
So now, are you aiming for that spot, like on the head?
I was just trying to car crash.
Gotcha.
I want to be like, I was aiming
but it looked like all 3 cuts were like the same spot.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like maybe like in Muay Thai they teach that so that the blood goes into the eyes.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think
because if you cut under the eye, they won't stop a fight for a cut under the eye. Very rarely will they stop a fight because the blood pours away from the eyes. But if it's above the eyes and it's affecting the vision, that's when they'll stop the fight.
Yeah. So
this is a real life assassin right here.
Dude, and it was like he was begging for violence. And like from a fan's perspective, dude, I loved watching Andre do the highlights. Not the glazed Andre, that is my partner, but like honestly, dude, like hearing somebody that had that much knowledge in the sport calling out exactly what you're doing, and then you do it. It was incredible. I saw you were about to say something about it. Like,
yeah,
it was. And it was early in the card. It wasn't even. It was like what, middle of the CFFC card. Right?
We were the second fight on the main card.
Yeah, it was, dude. It was incredible. It was an incredible fight. Like I said, go back and watch it. It was really, really good. And then 3rd round, talk us through the finish.
The 3rd round, he kicked me in the face.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm honestly, I rewatched it. I'm absolutely befuddled. I walked into his kick. I leaned into the kick. I ate the kick full force with my face, and I don't have a bruise on that side of my face.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've watched it and I just scratch my head repeatedly. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
He doesn't kick. All he does is box.
He kicked me square in the face, and as he hit me, I ate it, and then I just threw a left hook from a stance that I don't fight out of normally. I hit him from southpaw, and I just knocked his block off.
Dude, it's crazy because you could see this. Like, dude, he was just embracing violence. Like, it was like no matter what, he could have hit him with a metal baseball bat, and I think he would have just ate him and like, more.
Yeah.
And then the finish. What was the finish?
And then, so I dropped him with the left hook, and then I kind of like, you can see it on the replay. I kind of yell. I'm like, oh, and then I like went down and I threw a punch so hard that I felt like if I missed his head, I would have put a hole through the canvas.
Really?
And I've never. It felt slow motion to me. Like I saw him drop, and I was like, man, I can't believe I took that long to follow up.
Yeah.
But then when I watched the video, it's like on his way down, I'm already going after him, and it was so fast, and I've never hit a shot like that. And then when I knocked him out, I just went completely feral.
Dude, he
went
nuts. Mind. Did you remember anything that you did or said afterwards?
Yeah, I went up to the camera. Well, first off, I don't know why. I watched, I've been in the sport since I made my amateur debut in 2009, and I remember, when I was in high school in 2008, which is a very old thing to say.
That's all right, me too. Don't tell anybody.
I used to watch like highlight reels like Robbie Lawler and Phil Baroni in particular, and I remember Phil Baroni used to go, "Who's the man? I'm the man!" And I got up on the cage and I yelled, "Who's the fucking man? I'm the fucking man!" And then I just had my my first child, and so after the knockout, I went up to the camera and I yelled, "I'm a dad, motherfucker."
Oh, that's what he said. I wasn't sure what he said.
Yeah,
bro.
I went right up. I was like, "I'm a dad, motherfucker."
That's awesome, bro. Yeah.
So, do you know what the highest betting percentage in fighting is?
I know nothing about it.
After a fighter has his first child, he loses his next fight.
No shit.
Yeah, that's the highest betting percentage in fighting.
Really?
So you dodged the bullet, brother.
Dude, I think I'm a bit of an anomaly in the sport because I'm 35 years old fighting a 27-year-old prospect. Everyone on Tapology, who sucks, fuck you guys, said that I was going to lose.
Yeah.
And then like I'm beating the younger guys, and I just had a kid. Man, like, I feel like having a kid fired me up and motivated me a lot. And
so when I met with Rob, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
when I met with Rob, I was like, dude, you guys got Yaroslav on the card. Like, that's incredible. Like, dude, I've watched this guy forever. He's like, and he even said, he's like, yeah, I'm most excited for the Ryan Cafaro fight. Yeah, that was the fight that he was like most excited about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, watching Yaroslav fight, I had a feeling that if he got Curtis to the ground, it was going to be over relatively quickly, because Curtis is a terrifying striker.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you look historically, people are like, I'm not going to strike with you.
Yeah.
And I don't blame Yaroslav for doing that.
Right.
It was just like, it was kind of lame.
Yeah.
Like, in the sense that I was like, I mean, you definitely took the right route, but it's like, but also boo.
Yeah, a lot of people were hyped up for that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Rob, he actually asked me, he's like, do you want to be the opening fight, or do you want to be the second fight of the night? And I told him, I was like, give me the second fight, just so, because I was like, I don't want to ruin it for everyone. If I'm the first fight of the night and every fight after that is not as good, I was like, let it build a little.
So you knew fireworks were coming.
When we went in the back, and then Rob came through and gave us the fighter meeting and said, we're giving out $1,000 bonuses. For some reason, in the back of my head, I was like, shit, I'm going to win fight of the night. I was like, fuck. I was like, I want performance of the night. I remember I did an interview for CFFC, and I explained, I was like, this is going to be a one-sided beatdown. Like, this is going to be performance of the night. I said, I'm not looking for fight of the night. And when he announced, I was like, shit, I'm going to win fight of the night. And then, of course, it was, one of the most insane back-and-forth fights I've ever been in. I was,
So I think a lot of your martial arts experience, at least what you're most known for, I think that's fair to say, is cornering high-level UFC fighters. Now, you talked about earlier how you studied every fight of Fuentes. Mm-hmm. Do you think you get a lot of that, like being a student, film study, being a teacher, that comes from cornering these guys?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I feel like the reason I am 12-6 and not like 18-0 or something like that is a lot of the time I was trying to juggle fighting and cornering high-level guys, and I would spend more time focusing on the fighters I was coaching than my own fights. Like, for example, I fought Boy McCarmo in CFFC, and it was a very back and forth fight. The majority, in the middle of my camp, I'm in Brazil coaching Marlon Moraes to fight Rafael Assunção when he's on his tear to fight Henry Cejudo for the title. And it's like, I'm so busy focusing on his fights and doing travel for him. Like, you shouldn't be traveling to a different country and getting, food poisoning and, and you miss
your sleep gets all messed up.
You miss a whole week of training, basically. Like, I'm doing my best. I'm trying to run on a treadmill, but like...
Yeah, you don't know where the training session's going to be. You're trying to find a gym.
Yeah.
Half the time you end up just hitting pads with somebody in a hotel,
Exactly. And so it's like that fight, I feel like I underperformed. A lot of the fights that I have lost, I feel like I underperformed and just didn't do my skill set justice. And it's like, it's almost frustrating that I feel like I'm peaking at 35 years old.
Yeah.
Because all the fighters I coached are kind of retiring now. They're all kind of done. Like Frankie Edgar's done. Caitlin Chukagian is not fighting as much anymore. Yeah. Sijara Eubanks is retired. Marlon moved to Florida. It's like, these were, I used to corner when the pandemic hit, I cornered 8 times in 1 year.
But maybe that the silver lining is that now you can focus on your own career.
And that's what I'm saying.
If they weren't done, you'd be still trying to help them.
Right. And that's what I was saying. I feel like that's why I'm peaking now, is because now I take the time and the effort to focus on myself.
Yeah.
And now you have the side of, like, look at Blachowicz. He's 42. We'll get to this card soon. Like, you got another 7 years if you're looking at it that way. Your chin hasn't taken as much damage. You know what I mean?
Who's Blachowicz?
Jan Blachowicz.
Oh, Blachowicz.
Yeah, Blachowicz. Yeah, my bad.
Blachowicz!
Blachowicz, whatever, bro.
It's all right. Andre's known me
like
for Andre's known me for like 10 years, and he calls me Cafaro.
Yeah,
so.
I'm going to ask you 3 more times. I just have to read the show pronouncing it.
It's just the Delco pronunciation.
Bro, I've seen, like I said, so like he's talked about cornering people. Like literally, my little cousin, you were his boxing coach. Like I said, one of my best friends growing up, probably the toughest street fighter I've ever seen, Justin Benatitis, who I swear would have been top 10 in the UFC if it wasn't for his knee issues. He coaches up Lacey Wrestling right now. Do you remember? He was very skilled, right?
Yeah.
He was a very talented kid. But like so many different levels of people. He's been around forever. He really has. And like that's why I think of these CFFCs, like, you said you were second fight on the card, or he was a second fight on the card, but like the amount of people that come to see this kid and root for this kid, like everybody was saying, yo, Ryan Cafaro is fighting this week. I said it right?
Yeah. Not everyone. I said Cafaro.
You can still continue to say it. It's funny. My wife, who's from Delco, Shannon, we laugh about it as well.
So speaking of your wife, so I do think it's a cool story. So your wife had your fiance had a kickboxing fight, right?
Yeah.
And then you proposed to her in the ring.
Yeah.
Did she win?
She got robbed.
God damn
it. In my opinion, she got robbed.
But you still loved her.
Oh yeah. So I
wouldn't have done.
So
the
I
same
told
way.
I DM'd the promoter and said, hey, if Shannon wins, I'm gonna propose to her. And they were like, oh shit, okay.
Like, make sure we throw it.
Yeah. So I was like, make sure she gets the decision. But in particular, I feel like Muay Thai is such a subjective sport that has almost as much, if not more, like influence than like boxing when it comes to how fights are supposed to play out.
Yeah.
It's like borderline scripted half the time.
Yeah.
Where you see promoters who have their fighters at their gym fighting for their promotion.
Yeah.
And sometimes the judges are like family members of the promoter, and it's like really shady shit. But anyway, my wife has a very competitive Thai fight. It was a very close fight, I'll give her that, but I argued that she won.
Yeah.
And, she loses unanimous decision, which I was like, that's bullshit. But as soon as it ends, the promoter comes up to me and he just goes, are you going to do it? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. So then I proposed to her, and then the crowd was going nuts, and it was funny because the girl who won, she started going nuts thinking the crowd was going nuts for her, and then she turned around, saw me proposing, and was like, yeah, all right.
So recently we saw Garbarino propose to his now fiance after he went, but I've never seen the guy propose to the girl after she fights. Which is cool. That was cool to see.
Bro, it was
so what's it like with like, is she pretty understanding as far as like what you have to do? Obviously you guys have a kid together.
Yeah.
So is she pretty understanding of like, all right, Ryan's got to go to training.
Yeah. And then
Ryan can't stay up with the baby all night.
Right. So like
I'm gonna have to have her talk to my girlfriend.
To be honest, for this camp, like I slept in a different room.
Yeah.
I slept downstairs.
I've done that,
Yeah, she slept upstairs. She understood what was going on.
That's awesome.
That
means a lot. As selfish as it sounds, like, dude, if you're up all night with a baby, good luck getting a good sparring session in the next day.
Yeah.
Like,
and
it's
I mean,
hard, bro.
Yeah, I just gaslit her. I was like, look, I'm weaker than you. I need more sleep. I'm a coward. You're courageous. You're the best. I need sleep.
We would never survive without that.
Exactly. I was like,
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
Next time.
So, and she was like, yeah, you are weaker. Go sleep downstairs. And I was like, love you. But
Dre did have baby Andre at the premiere last week. It was like 8 o'clock at night, dude. And his baby has lots of little chubby cheeks, and like he like gave a little hug, and I was like, Dre, I was like, I think he's tired. He just gave a little hug up against me, and I was like, I liked it. But then he started crying. He was ready for bed. But you should see Dre this son. I got a good video of it actually.
But going back to that, it was when we first started dating, I was a 0-1 pro, and then. And she had never fought before. We met at a UFC gym where I was coaching her a little bit, and then we started dating.
In Springfield?
Yep.
Nah.
And then we, like, as my fight career progressed, it was like, I was your average fighter where, like, fight week I was all grumpy and miserable, and, I'm like, I remember once my mom made all this food, and I got really angry and, like, took my plate upstairs, and I was like, what a fucking douchebag. But I remember this one time where Shannon kind of got really upset at me, and I was like, what's going on? And she just goes, I'm sorry, but fight week is really hard for me. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
I've been eating a week.
So then when she started fighting Muay Thai,
now
there was one day where she's like, can you get me something? And I was like, I don't understand why. And she's like, what? And I was like, I'm sorry, but fight week is really hard for me. And then she looked at me and she was like, all right. I was like, do you get it? Do you get it? I was like, yeah, I get it. So, and then, but now it's like, I feel like I don't know how many fights I have left. Like I said in the post-fight commentary, I said, if I go out like this, like,
I don't think any of us were expecting that.
Yeah. But I was just saying, like, if this is how I end my fighting career, like, what a way to end it. But
you fought like it.
Yeah.
Really
so,
did.
and that's what I was saying. Like, these last few fights, I never knew if that was going to be my last fight. Like, when I fought Jeremiah Labiano, for CFFC. That was my first fight back, coming back from an ACL tear.
Wow.
Where I had, I didn't have health insurance at the time, so I signed up for a clinical trial for an experimental ACL surgery called BEAR, Bridge Enhanced ACL Repair. It worked great. And yeah, it's
they wrap it, right?
No, so what
like a little bacon wrap.
So kind of similar, actually. So it's like a bacon wrap scallop. So what they do is, like, if your ACL is like this and it tears, what they normally do is they just grind away the ACL on both sides, and then they take a chunk of your hamstring or your patellar tendon or something, and they make a new ACL.
Yeah.
Because you can't, there's no blood flow to the ACL.
Yeah.
So the BEAR ACL procedure is what they do is they take a block of cow collagen and protein, and they purify it and synthesize it or whatever into like what looks like a mini marshmallow.
Yeah.
And then they take stitches and they grab both sides of your torn ACL and put it together and stick it into this marshmallow thing. And then they inject your own blood into the marshmallow, which creates a blood-rich healing environment, and your ACL grows back together.
Are you a doctor too?
I mean,
Dr. Cafaro.
I'm saying when I was signing up for a clinical trial, I did all the research before I knew what I was getting into. I was like, if I'm getting an experimental surgery, I better know that this is the right surgery to do.
Yeah.
So when I went in there and was asking questions, the doctor was like, "Are you in the medical field?" And I was like, "No, I studied this thing."
So now, Ryan, now you were talking about
time
grinding
out.
down your ACL.
Go ahead.
Right? This time of year, springtime, there's a lot of those tree stumps that are left around there, Dre. Beat you to it. Get over there, Dre. That's why I talked over him. Tell him about it, Dre.
Listen, you have any trees that you just don't want on your yard?
Especially this time of year, grinding them down.
You got to grind them down, bro. At the end of the day, you got to grind down the trees. And if you're going to grind them down, you better call Enright Tree Removal Service, located right here in our heart of South Jersey. Let's go.
I'll never talk over Dre, but I know great minds thinking like I had to.
Come on, bro. You're
That's an incredible plug. Going from shaving down an ACL.
So
stump.
great win for the boy, and we got a lot of knowledge.
All right, so perfect scenario. What would you like next?
I would like a short notice UFC fight. I would like to skip the line for everything. I just want to go straight to the UFC. So if I had to,
Who's
like,
your manager?
Cale Brusso. He works with. He used to work with Elise Reed in the UFC, and he is. Cale is my guy because he's the only manager that's actually reached out to me. I've had plenty of, texted managers and talked to them, and they're like, well, I work with this guy in the UFC, and if you want, here's my blah, blah, blah. This, Cale Brusso is really cool to me because he's the only guy that was like, hey, do you have a manager? And I said, no. And he's like, I thought you had a manager, which is why I didn't reach out to you earlier.
Yeah.
So he's been very supportive of me, and he works with Ed Suarez for LFA, and Ed Suarez was Anderson Silva's former manager and translator. So he's I think he's going to put in a call or shoot a text to Mick Maynard or Sean Shelby. Sean Shelby, since he
unless you want to go up to 85.
Sean Shelby, since he handles the featherweights. So but I do have I think I have a decent relationship with Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard. Like I've brushed shoulders with them and had a drink or two with those guys at a couple of events and things like that, which obviously you still have to be a good fighter. You can't just be like, hey, we had a drink, why don't you let me fight in the UFC?
In this world though, like the handshake means almost as much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
what do you walk around at?
I walk around at like somewhere between 65 and 70.
So like, you can make that short and eat or sweet?
Well, to give you an idea, I start fight week at 65.
Oh, okay.
So I could make, if you gave me 7 days, I could go from 65 to 45.
Oh, okay. That's amazing to me, by the way, dude. Like the way you guys cut weight and just so casually do it. Like, even, dude, I was just looking at the video. You're gonna leave for Mexico when? Tomorrow?
No, I leave Sunday.
Oh, okay. I just saw Pfeiffer like getting used to the elements. I guess he's there a week earlier, bro. And it's just like the things that you guys put your body through. Like, I don't even like to travel for vacation, let alone go train and get punched in my head like that. How do you think elevation's gonna fare?
I've done it. I did Denver, so we did 2 weeks. We went out 2 weeks early. We actually did the first 10 days or first 9 days in Colorado Springs, which is even higher than Denver. And then we came back down to Denver, which is 5,000 feet in elevation. And, I definitely felt it a little bit, especially like the first week I was in Colorado, like just get winded real easily. Now, Mexico City's 8,000, so it's a little bit more intense, but Joe's doing the same thing. He's been sleeping in the hyperbaric chamber. He's going out there 2 weeks early.
The altitude chamber. Yeah, a little different. My advice, I did go to Mexico. I went to Mexico City before because I cornered Sajara Eubanks.
Yeah.
So we went out, I think 3 weeks before her fight to Zacatecas. and bring Pepto-Bismol because
The water?
yeah.
Okay.
And or the questionable street tacos that no one told
Well,
me
dude,
about.
Piper won't eat any of that, dude. I got this chicken, this $20 pound chicken.
But
the
even
other day.
like ice and water, you gotta be careful.
I don't think it was the water that got me. I bought street tacos for like wow, 4 tacos for $1.50. That seems really cheap. And then
what do you think they are drinking over there?
Dude, you're like the perfect sucker.
oh yeah. And then
$1.50.
and then they were like, yo, you have to be careful about the street tacos because you don't know what the meat is. And I was like, but they said it was beef, and they're like, it was not.
I know that from school.
It
on
was
Instagram,
not
bro.
beef.
Yeah.
And there was no beef.
Yeah, it was in fact perro. Yeah. So then I got really sick when I was in Mexico City, and then I couldn't find Pepto-Bismol. And then when I finally did get it, it was like my stomach was ready to rain. So bring Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah.
And then the altitude is tough. It definitely is tough. So like all you can really do to prepare for it is you can do 3 things. The first thing is you come in really, really, really good shape.
Yeah.
The second thing is you do a lot of like the altitude adjustments and things like that. And the third thing you do is what Eddie Alvarez did, which is just don't believe in it. Because he straight up, when he fought Gilbert Melendez, he went out on fight week. He went out it was like 5 days notice or something. Or not 5 days notice, but he went out with no altitude adjustment at all. And I was like, aren't you worried about the altitude? And Eddie was like, I don't believe in that. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you not?
Honestly, though, some of the best fighters in the world are just like too dumb to believe that they're supposed to lose.
Oh, and Eddie would take that as a compliment.
Smart guys are like, I'm the underdog here. Like, he beat this guy. I lost to this guy. Blah blah. The dumbest fighters like, fuck this shit. I'm just gonna go fuck this dude up. Like,
it's funny. It's funny you bring that up because I feel like in some of my prior fights, like there's a fight I fought for the Ring of Combat title on YouTube against Tim Dooling, and I remember him hitting me. He was hitting me with strikes, and I'm staring at him, going, "How is this guy outstriking me? I'm the better striker. Why am I losing this fight?" And I'm like freaking out at everything he's hitting me with. Yeah. And then this fight
over paralysis by analysis.
Yeah. And then this fight, I just felt like Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street. He would hit me. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm not
fucking leaving."
Yeah, he would hit me, and he'd hit me. You saw it a couple times. I'd nod my head like, "Come on, motherfucker, hit me again." Like I felt like he would jab me, and I'd try to headbutt his fist.
How did you feel in the corner between rounds 1 and 2?
I was, so I told you, I sat down in the corner and Malik came over and I said, I lost the round, but he's fading. Yeah. And then I got up from the stool within like 20, 30 seconds because I have been training. The majority of my sparring rounds have 30 seconds rest. And the majority of all of my rounds of anything I do have 30 seconds rest. So I'm used to when you give me a full 60 seconds rest in between rounds, it's like double the recovery time. So I feel incredible. So when I got up in the middle of the second round, the rest going from the first to the second, you see me, I looked at Fuentes and I said, "Get up." And I made him get up early. And then he got up early. And then the third round, I got up in like 15 seconds because I was so fired up. And then his nickname is AK-47, and I went over to him, I went like that. And then I was screaming at him. I was like, "Get up! Get up!" And he like wouldn't get up.
Did you see any of this when you were
Yeah. And then I like turned around in my crowd and I was like, "Let's fucking go!" And I just
you were fired.
Now, do you think that way, or would you take the max seconds possible? How do you feel about breaks?
I'll take the max seconds, but as soon as it's time to go, I want to meet him across the ring. I want to be in his face.
I know
because that body language is huge.
Yeah, I know you said you look for that to see where you want to feel if the kick hurts. And we said that last episode. Things along those lines.
And don't get me wrong, if I need this full rest, I'll take the full rest. But like for some reason, I just felt like a man possessed in this fight.
Dude, this transition between rounds 1 and 2, and it always amazes me how somebody can go from like literally looking like you're almost done, ready to stop, and then just come in and just terminate them like in 30 seconds, like you said. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the scientists and the doctors are like, you need to hunch over and be sitting down, and like that's how you recover the best. Like that's how you get your heart rate to drop the most. I totally disagree. I think if you keep your heart rate like a little bit higher, like stay standing or like, then the lactic acid's not going to build up. Like, right. And I just feel like I recover faster if I like keep some type of movement going. Yeah.
I just think a lot of that is trumped by what's going on mentally.
Oh, and that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of the people, the doctors and the scientists, especially when it comes to weight cutting, like the UFC brings all these doctors and scientists that like know all the fucking science behind weight cutting. It's like they've never done it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, if you've never done it, like, all the science in the world is only going to take you so far.
Now, I will agree with you in some standpoints on that, but if you look at, like, who's the head of the UFC PI? Charles Stoll. And Charles Stoll fights Muay Thai. And Charles Stoll has cut weight before.
Yeah.
And Charles Stoll, he leads from the front. So he has done weight cuts and he has experienced them and has been through so many weight cuts around so many fighters. Charles Stoll has experienced more weight cuts than you and I will ever experience in 10 lifetimes because he's helping probably, 10 to 20 athletes a week with 52 weeks out of the year. So he's probably helping with 500 to 1,000 weight cuts.
You cannot argue that the science behind weight cutting has come a long way.
Right, but
we didn't even have water loading back then.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, the water loading changed the game.
You remember the Epsom salt baths with the green alcohol bottles? I remember Sammy O used to do that. He almost stopped his fucking heart or something in a fight in Bellator. Yeah. So it's like, and also if you do, speaking of the weight cut, I cut 14 pounds in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
And that's a lot for any weight class, let alone a featherweight.
That's typically what I do, but I'm a lot bigger than you.
Right. So 24 hours out, I was 160 pounds.
Yeah.
And I cut 5 the night before, and then the day of I cut 8.5. And I followed all of the protocol that Charles Stoll had given me to a T. I made sure my body temperature did not go over 103 degrees. I made sure that my bath water was between 105 to 108 degrees Fahrenheit. I made sure that I had done heat acclimation and sauna work leading up to the fight.
Do you think the heat acclimation
1,000%. 1,000%.
That's funny. I just asked, because I was thinking it. I did it the last 2 fights, and I was like thinking it, but I didn't want to say it. And then I asked someone else. I was like, "Hey, do you think that heat acclimation does anything?" They're like, "No, it makes it worse."
No, I thought that if anything, it helped me mentally prepare for the cut, and then
the
also
flip side of that is like, dude, I'm gonna suffer anyway. Like,
why do people like us? What is heat acclimation? Because
you're gonna do, like, let's say you do 3 sauna session workouts for your weight cut. Like he said, he did 3 or 4 pounds the night before, 8 pounds a day up, like whatever it is.
So like I would do, so like heat acclimation is you just getting ready and simulating
like the week before your cut, you go in the sauna and do like 20-minute sessions.
So not actually sweating it out, but getting used to the.
No, you are sweating.
You are sweating, but you're replenishing everything as you do it.
You're
so
just
you're not dehydrating. You're
basically
just
like preparing your body for those sessions later on.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay.
Because like, and I mean, like, you see people freak the fuck out in the sauna sometimes.
Yeah.
You see people freak out in the tub.
Yep.
And I feel like if you don't prepare for that, and then all of a sudden, especially for fighters that deal with a lot of anxiety going into those cuts, because those cuts are brutal.
I can't imagine, bro.
Like, it's not a good time. It is not fun.
I remember trying to get down to like 185 in high school, like spitting in a water bottle. That was bad.
And so to be cutting this level of fluid and dehydrating yourself to the point of basically borderline death, it's like you have to be prepared for that in some way, shape, or form. And working out in the gym, doing what you're used to every day, sometimes it's not going to cut it. Or I've just seen like some of the most terrifying fighters in the world become mental midgets when it comes to the weight cut. And it's like you have to prepare for it appropriately, or at least I do. But also, like Andre said, it's different for everybody. Some people are like, this doesn't help me at all.
We've been heat acclimating our whole life. I've been cutting weight since I was a kid.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And but again, it's like you've been cutting weight as a wrestler.
You're right.
And it's a very different time window. So like you were like, oh, I've been jogging with a sweatsuit to lose 4 or 5 pounds. It's like, cool, now lose 20.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then
for the viewers that don't know, so in wrestling, especially later in your career, you do you weigh in and then you wrestle 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours later.
Yeah.
In fighting, we weigh in 9 a.m. on Friday. We fight 9 p.m. on Saturday. Now, it's a 36-hour window.
Or
so
for the regional
that
circuit.
changes everything.
Yeah.
If you have 36 hours to rehydrate and refuel, you can cut way more weight and still be able to perform.
Right.
So that changes everything.
That's wild.
So and that's why also, like, what I was saying was it's different for everybody, but also, like, it depends on what you know and who you trust.
Yeah.
So, like, when Charles Stoll from the PI tells someone you need to do this and they don't trust him, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But like Charles
if
Stoll,
you believe in it,
right? Charles Stoll will tell me, "Hey, eat dog shit to make weight," and I'd be like, "From a Mastiff or from a Chihuahua, what? Like, you name it, I'll do it." You know what I mean? So
no, that goes a long way, especially from someone that's been around the sport for so long, it's easy for those guys to be like, nah, I know what I'm doing. No, ain't nobody gonna tell me how to cut weight. You know what I mean? Which is easy, you know, to have. A lot of people have that mindset. Like, I know.
I feel like that's a perfect segue into like our next topic. We got to get to the fights a little bit. We're running out of showtime here last week. But again, we have this debate all the time, and Andre will tell you some of the videos. But it's funny, right? Segueing into the fights. First off, last week we didn't want to talk about the girls' fight. How did that start off? I told you guys it was going to be a quick one. Plus 120 knockout first round of the women's fight. How'd you feel about that?
If you guys aren't following Jordan's picks, you're just wasting money away. Like, the guy comes on here, and he's going to continue to come on here every week and at least give you one lock. So if you don't follow up on it, like, that's on you guys.
Right, we smacked it right away. So I say to Andre, right? So my biggest thing is, like, I'll sit there, and I don't know what it is because I don't do it with my body, but like you guys were just saying, for some reason, I genuinely believe that I can look at two men and follow them, and there's not a person in the world who on a high percentage, like over time, can outpick me. And I think I've proven it at this point. Andre, you didn't believe it at first. You thought it was crazy, right?
Look, the more I know about fighting, the less I know who's going to win.
It's crazy, right?
I can't pick, but Jordan just continues to pick winners. So not that he doesn't know anything about fighting.
No, but so last week, right, I sent Andre this whole video, right, at night. I probably, had a little bit of a blue light dispensary, Woodbury, Gloucester City, New Jersey. Check them out.
Check them out, baby.
We'll have our knockout of the night coming up soon, right? But I might have indulged just a little bit. So I'm sending Andre some videos. And I'm like, listen, when you're throwing an uppercut, right, you're doing hammer curls. And I'm telling him, what's the difference between you hit somebody and you take that extra time, and I got to see what camera to look in, and you're taking that time to throw an uppercut like this, or you're just coming with a straight hammer curl like this. The second knockout of the night, what's the girl do? She's having a hard time finding the uppercut, seeing the uppercut. She just throws a straight hammer curl uppercut, and we'll put it up on the screen. Puts her right on the button, puts the girl right out, and exactly what I said, Andre, exactly what I said was going to happen, and everybody thought I was crazy, and I was like, yo, I just sent this to a UFC fighter, and that's exactly what she did in the second fight for the knockout. I blew your phone up a little bit about it. Did you catch that fight? You're sleeping.
No, I watched it. Yeah, it was good.
And
I watched the short fight.
Yeah. Now, how do you guys feel about that? Like, the difference between, like, throwing something, like, the perfect way or just what works?
I think a lot of times the short shots are the ones that do, like, the most damage. Like, the ones you didn't try to kill them on it. Like, every time when I dropped Mearshart, when I dropped, like, Josh Fremd, like, I didn't even really, like, and Malkoun, too. When I dropped Malkoun, I was like, I didn't really think that I hit him that hard. So I just, like, didn't understand, like, why they were falling.
Right.
And then, by then I didn't jump on him because I was like, oh, he just slipped or something.
Yeah.
Speaking of the devil, I got one knockout in my career. And it was Ryan Cafaro in my corner.
Really?
And Ryan texts me all the time. Was like, yo, when you need another knockout, you know who to call.
It is pretty funny. And then it was, it was one of his Ami fights, and he just went out and just blasted this dude with punches. And then he hopped on the cage. And there's a really funny video. You should find it. I did like a Super Mario high five.
Really?
Because he's on the cage, and I just go, wee, and like hop, smack his hand. It's a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yo, Lima dominated again this week, by the way. What do you think about Andre Lima?
He's a scary dude,
right? He's got the bite tattoo. He's not 11-0. Yeah. Absolute stud. Subbed him. He could have knocked him out too. Could have beat him any which way.
Let's start at the top.
Yeah, at the start at the top, and then we got Vettori versus Deliza, your division. How do you feel?
I just am not like what I see when I watch that fight is two grapplers striking each other.
That's fair.
That's what I feel. Dude, Delazi is so flat on his feet. Yeah. Like, I'm sure he kicks hard, but he is so flat. And a guy that moves and bounces and has rhythm, I'm telling you, is going to eat him up.
Yeah. Vettori typically has good takedown defense, though.
Vettori is good when he goes forward. When he comes forward with combinations, he lands. And that might be 3 or 4 times around. Like, the rest of the time, he's sitting back getting hit a lot. Yeah. Like, I'm seeing a lot of holes in the striking of these guys. I know that they're supposed to be great grapplers, some of the best grapplers in the division, but it was a striking match. It was 5 rounds of striking. And they got a lot to work on.
The first thing,
sure.
Can I say the first thing you texted me after the fight?
Yeah.
Let's say that. First thing you texted me after the fight was, bro, I can beat Vettori. Because this has been a topic, right? Like, you're at this point in your career, right?
Yeah.
He's on a 3-fight win streak. Should be 4. He was whooping Malkoun before whatever happened, right?
Yeah.
So now, when you look at the rankings, you're up there, like we said last week. You're up there. You're a killer. You're with the killer. So anybody that you're potentially going to fight is a killer.
No, if they call me tomorrow and say, do you want to fight Vettori? I'm saying yes. How much more?
100%, right?
Yeah.
And there's a couple guys up above you in there that you've said that to me. Brendan Allen, you feel you can 100% beat, right?
Yeah.
So that's 2 fights right there. And I don't know, you're not allowed to talk about it, but when do you think you are? You think you're going to get on the Jersey card? Is that a possibility?
That's what I would love to fight. I love fighting on the East Coast. I think it's awesome. I love hearing everybody come out. Walking out, even though Atlantic City didn't go my way, walking out in Atlantic City was like one of the most. People message me all the time, like, dude, your walkout in Atlantic City was amazing.
Bro, that energy, as much as that arena sucked, like, it was the worst arena in history, but
why do you say that? Because it's hard to see.
Well, first off, there's no cell phone reception except for one hallway. So I post every fight by fight. You guys know how I do that. And they shut it down where you could only walk up one, like, so to leave, you only one stairway out, and then you have to walk around the entire arena to go back down to your seats. That's how they had it set up. So you had to literally end.
It's a Coliseum. It's Boardwalk Hall is right. Is it?
Yeah.
No, it's a theater.
Yeah.
Same thing. Theater Coliseum.
No cell phone receptions.
It is iconic though.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson fought there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I remember like you said, the environment in there, bro. Everybody, like, that's when it really jumped out to me, like, how much people appreciate and love Andre. Like, bro, Pfeiffer was ready to cry after he got knocked out. Like, I have a video of it right after. He's like, yeah, it was great. But literally, bro, it seemed like he was so passionate. He's like, well, my boy just got, like, I don't feel great about that. Like, everybody there, like it was like they were all in the cage with you. It was unbelievable, that moment. I'll never forget that moment.
Look,
Pfeiffer cried watching The Notebook though.
In front of fans.
I'm joking.
As long as you put me in front of fans, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Apex is very familiar and it's comfortable.
Yeah.
But like, dude, I'm trying to get a rush. You know what I mean? I need a rush. I want a rush.
That's how I felt at the 2300 arena on Friday. It was like when I walked out to the Do It To It song or whatever, they fucked up my walkout. I was supposed to, the beginning of that song was supposed to be the Squid Game theme.
Oh,
the creepy, like the he.
You gotta get with them, whoever the production
DJ
guy is, like, early and make those. Like, would you email your fight song?
Yeah, I sent the song, but they cut out the first half of it, which is the cool part.
Then you got to say, hey, I wanted to start at this time.
I wore the frontman outfit from Squid Game. I had the mask and everything, and it was awesome. And then, but they skipped that part, so I was like, fuck it. Now I'm just walking out to some club song. I was like, all right, let's do it.
So you pick. So we were both a little wrong with the co-main event.
Dude, it cost me what, $75,000?
Oh god, wait, what?
Bro, I picked the entire card right besides that fight. Literally the entire card.
Yeah, so you had 2 parlays that would have been.
I had like 4 or 5 of them. Yeah.
That would have been totaling.
Yeah, it was crazy. One was like a 500 to win 23,000. Like, literally, I hit the 3-1 Ribeiro.
Yeah.
I had that going out of the first round, but then Ribeiro, he was like a 5-1 underdog, but he was like plus 350. I knew there was no chance because that dude, first of all, like, not to call a professional athlete, but that dude was fat for the weight class compared to Roberto. And there's like a big Ribeiro. There's a big difference to me when a guy, like, you can see, especially in heavyweight, like, it's very noticeable when guys spend time in the PI, they spend time having those facilities. It doesn't matter if they weren't great a couple fights ago. Like, they evolve so much more rapidly, and somebody who's their first or second fight having those facilities, it's really evident in their performance. What do you think about that?
Dude, the PI is incredible.
Yeah, it makes such a difference.
And it's like, well, we're lucky because we have Philly right here, and we have great training here now. We've built Philly MMA up, but if you don't have that, if you're from another country, another part of the world where you don't have that, like, dude, anybody in the UFC can go to the PI, go live there, get free meals, free training, like, dude, that's a resource that not many have. So,
I think that as long as you have the right coaching staff to bring with you, the PI is perfect.
Yeah,
it's people that try to just go to Vegas because the PI is there and just try to work with the coaching staff there.
Yeah,
that it's not always the best, right? And it's like it like, you know, because people like the coaches in Vegas at probably like Extreme Couture and all this, they see fighters come in a dime a dozen from every country trying to go to the PI, and it's like, if you don't mesh well with those people, then maybe the PI is not for you, regardless of all the other benefits. Because at the end of the day, if you and a coach don't mesh well and you guys aren't developing and growing, it doesn't matter what you ate for breakfast that day. Yeah. Like, you're going to get beat up in a fight.
Yeah.
Now, how does it work for the PI? Is it you have to have one UFC fight and then you're allowed to use the facilities?
If you're signed to the UFC, you're in, right?
You can use it, or you can be, if I'm a UFC fighter, I can bring 2 non-UFC fighters with me.
Because again, going back to this fight, like, and I know you busted my balls about weigh-ins, like half you say, but I swear by weigh-ins, like, this fight, I got 100% from watching weigh-ins. I saw Dyer, and I just saw he looked so much softer, and then I saw Ribeiro, and those two men next to each other, I was like, there's no possible way that this guy, even though he's a minus 500 favorite, is going to beat this man. He's just not. And, like, that was strictly from watching the weigh-ins. And
you can learn a lot from weigh-ins.
I've disagreed with you on putting that much emphasis, but for that fight, I totally agree. Yeah, like the fact that he showed up, obviously didn't even try to cut weight. That definitely shows a lack of commitment, lack of discipline.
Yeah, and I think that, I guess, like, to counterpoint to last week, that's where the weigh-ins work. I don't use it for every fight, but moments like that where it's just like, wow.
All right, so we got to get to fights this week.
Let's do it.
So starting at the top, main event, Leon Edwards, Sean Brady. Ryan, I'd love to hear your insight.
Okay.
Ryan has obviously trained with Sean before.
Yeah. And I've actually trained with Bilal Muhammad as well.
Yeah, there you go.
At the I trained with him in Milwaukee.
I just wouldn't tell people that.
Well,
you might.
Bilal's my guy. He owes me 50 push-ups from the Eagles Super Bowl.
Okay.
He never did them. He's like, oh, I did them, but I was like, I wanted to see a video. Come on. Right. Anyways, so my thought is that Bilal has the best takedown defense in the welterweight division right now, which is why Sean kind of ran into a problem with him when he fought him. And I don't think that Leon has the takedown defense to keep up with Sean's strength and his takedowns. And I think that Sean has a better top game than Bilal when it comes to control and doing damage and hunting for submissions. Bilal is smothering from top, but Sean can get you out of there relatively quickly with a guillotine or his Kimura series and things like that. And I feel like if Sean takes a page out of Bilal's book and gets in Leon's face early and does not give him the opportunity to set his strikes up, and he just basically just runs at him and takes him down, I don't think Leon will be able to stop his takedown or get up.
I agree. I think when it comes to like you said, of like keeping a guy down, like not just taking a guy down, but keeping him down, I think that's where Sean is best at. Right. And
Sean needs one.
Leon got taken down a lot by Bilal. Now, he did do a good job of getting back to his feet, but I think that's where Sean is better than Bilal.
Right.
Is keeping a guy down.
And again, like you said, like if we go back and we watch the Bilal-Sean fight, it was Sean's first fight outside of the States. Sean barely ever left Philly before that fight. And then all of a sudden he's fighting across the world in front of a hostile territory of, just Muslim squad out there.
I also think that when it comes to Leon striking, like, obviously, we saw the head kick against Usman. Like, all those rear attacks, straight left hand, high kick. Sean, if there's one thing John Marquez is very good at, he's good with footwork, right? A lot of the drills is about footwork. Sean is working that foot race. Trust me.
Yeah.
He's going to be working that foot race, keeping the foot on the outside, the standard southpaw versus orthodox foot race. And I think that's going to take a lot of those weapons away from Leon.
Yeah.
If they do end up standing and trading.
And I was going to say, in this fight, I don't think you really necessarily need to focus so much on the foot race and being the outside. Just get in his fucking face.
Yeah.
Just get in his face. And then Leon needs time and rhythm to set things up.
Yeah.
Like if you watch his first fight with Bilal versus the second fight, his first fight, he was picking him apart at range because Bilal was giving him the time and the space.
Yeah.
The second fight, Bilal disregarded all of Leon's power, all of Leon's skill on the feet, and just walked at him.
Yeah.
And that's how he did so well. And I feel like if Sean just walks at him, he can do the same.
I feel like the jab's going to be very, very important part of this fight. I mean, Leon does have 4 inches on him. Reach-wise, it's only 2 reach-wise, but Brady's head movement worries me a little bit. We said this last time. I said his striking definitely has gotten better, and he's always had the takedowns. But it was apparent when he got knocked out that when he goes up to that next level, like Leon is, for some reason, Usman, guys like that, I don't know why, but they all fight in that same circle, but it seems when they fight out of that circle, they just seem to be elite. So this is really going to be a test for Brady. I know, obviously, you guys love Brady, like, with true heart. But speaking from, more impartial standpoint, I am worried about the head movement. I am worried about the jab, and Leon, off the back foot throwing like a check hook or something that might catch Brady. And
there's no doubt that Leon would be the biggest name on his resume.
Yeah. For sure.
But it would be a huge win for Philly and put everybody on the map. So obviously we're going to root for Brady.
Yeah.
But that's the only way. And again, with the cage and the length, like you said, he's great at getting back at his feet, especially now how guys are using the cage, especially if you can get that base. it could be tough for Brady to get him down into that cage. And then again, the quick elbows, the length that Edwards has could prove to be a problem.
I'm curious about how the 6-12 dynamic is going to be now with the elbows, now with the new rule set.
Yeah.
That you can elbow 6-12 from almost anywhere. If you look at like I did commentary for Art of War over the weekend, and there's this young up and coming stud, this kid named Brandon Bohannon out of Martinez BJJ, and he was throwing 6-12 elbows like at every spot you could imagine. He was hitting the collarbone, he was hitting the back and the shoulder blade, and he sent the kid to the hospital. He messed his rib up and he messed his rotator cuff up just by 6-12ing him from every angle imaginable. So it's like it's going to be interesting to see if that factors into takedown defense with Sean, because Sean does such a good job of getting someone to the fence, and then once he gets them to the fence, like, who can out deadlift Sean at welterweight? Nobody. So Sean can basically deadlift anyone on the fence. But if you're getting stabbed in the back while you're trying to do it, it could be an interesting dynamic.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So, but also, like, I think that being said, Sean's going to fucking dump his tea and smush his crimpets, and let's fucking go.
Let's go. Clip that, baby.
Awesome. Clip that. All right, so Jan, how do you pronounce it?
Blachowicz.
Jan Blachowicz against Olberg. We talked about this earlier. Dre, who do you like in this?
Dude, honestly, if I'm going to pick an underdog at plus 250, I'm picking Blachowicz.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Dude,
he's 42 years old. 42 years old.
Yeah, but like, dude, he's fought the who's who, and he's dangerous everywhere. He's shown he can wrestle, obviously, against Adesanya, but still, he can wrestle and he can strike. Yeah. Like, I don't know, at plus 250, I don't think that's a bad pick.
He fought Adesanya?
Yeah, he beat Izzy.
Izzy went up to, that was the first fight. Izzy went up to 205.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And he took him down a bunch.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I think it was a decision, but he's still.
And Olberg's been that guy that the UFC had been pushing, but like he kind of plateaued. Like they like hyped him up like he was just gonna one hit put everybody out.
Yeah.
And he again last fight went to decision, and now against Blachowicz. How do you say
Blachowicz?
Let's see if I'm gonna ask 5 times. Cafaro.
It's all right. It's all good. You guys have just been butchering everything. It's fine. I'm used to it.
Cafaro is that how
Cafaro.
He didn't even correct me the 4 times I did it.
It's fine. But it's funny story about Blachowicz is I was on Fight Island when he beat Dominic Reyes for the title.
Wow.
How was that?
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then he knocked out Reyes, and then we were in the buffet area afterwards, and he has food, and I look at him, we make eye contact, and I was like, hey, congrats, nice fight. He goes, thank you. I know. It was fucking great.
That's great.
I know.
Yeah. I was like, great fight. I know.
That's like Romanov, bro. I feel like Romanov's everywhere for some reason. He was even at that grappling event that you were at that one night. He had a table. I think he did it, and he was like drinking right afterwards.
No, he was good. I was kind of surprised they let him go, to be honest, because there's not that many heavyweights either.
Dude, and that dude, afterwards, he was like, bro, I thought, so the way that the 2300 for grappling set up, you know, there's just like a cement floor like 5 feet down, 4 feet down.
Very safe.
Yeah, very safe. And dude, all of a sudden, like instinctively, like me and Mike Ruley, we go and we're like trying to catch the heavy. And I'm like, dude, if he would have fallen on top of me, I would have broken.
Shit.
Yeah, dude. And I tried to catch you and Pat too. Remember? Yeah.
I think this next fight is really interesting.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland and Gunnar Nelson.
Yeah. So.
Ooh. Yeah.
God, what do you think about it?
This is the interesting.
What's the interesting part? Try to tell us.
Since 2019.
Wow.
Right? So that's 6 years. Gunnar Nelson is 2-0. Mm-hmm. So 2 fights in 6 years. Kevin Holland is 13-10 since 2018. 23 fights.
Versus 2.
Obviously, the much more active fighter.
2 different weight classes.
I like when guys are active. I think they get in a rhythm. They get comfortable in the cage. They start seeing shit better. Mm-hmm. The game slows down, and they're able to make reads and adjustments. And I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. With that being said, he's 1-4.
Yeah,
he's 1-4 since 2023.
And when you say that,
momentum is not in his favor.
When you say that you get into a rhythm and you get comfortable, it seems like he's gotten into a rhythm of losing every other fight and getting comfortable losing every other fight with a 13-10 record.
Yeah, and look, he's fought killers. Like, at 85 and at 70, he's fought the who's who. So like a lot of those losses are respectable, for sure.
Khamzat Chimaev and all sorts.
And
of
he's back down to 70, which shows me that he's a little bit more committed now.
Yeah, because it's like you have to do the right stuff to hit the right weight class.
Yeah.
And ironically, Gunnar Nelson's last loss was a split decision to Leon Edwards.
Yeah.
So he's fighting top caliber guys, both weight classes.
They both also fought Ponzinibbio, Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Yeah, and Holland cleaned them, put him right out.
Good point.
But I have a history with Holland. Holland was one of the first Guru Squad members, one of the original from Oren. And Holland's interesting because I followed his career. He was right with Brendan Allen years ago. Him and them were neck and neck. And I think the difference was just the way that they look at training. Again, Holland just is looking for the paycheck. And I can't imagine he's 23 fights in 4 years. You said 6 years. Yeah. His bank account, you see him blinking all the time, right? But so he's got his plan, but Allen took the plan of going for the championship route. Yeah. And now, honestly, I don't know which one I'd say is working better because Allen now is kind of plateauing and Holland now is stacking. So maybe the Holland route might be the way to go. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, but
what other fights we got?
So last fight, we got a couple minutes left. Molly McCann over there. I mean, I
could never vote against Molly. She's awesome. Yeah.
Huge Molly fan.
Yeah,
like
awesome personality, super cool girl.
Is it just me or is it like when people talk shit on her, it just bums me the fuck out? Like when people
it's
are
just
really
MMA fans.
Yeah, like. I hear her talk and she's so happy and like loves doing what she's doing and then people are like she fucking sucks and like it like brings out like a Scouser in me. I'm like I fucking shitty lad. I'll fucking smack you. I'll spy you right now, lad. And like it breaks my heart. I'm like I'll root for Molly McCann every time she fights, even if I think she's out.
Machine over here.
But she always fights killers. Like the Blanchfield fight, like She doesn't really get the best matchups.
She might be outgunned, but she's never outhearted.
Well, she was in the wrong weight class for a little bit, too. They were doing her dirty. She was fighting way heavier than she should have. That first, when she dropped, she looked like she was going to make a run at first, too. So hopefully they put her up a good one so she can get the fans celebrating. We're running out of time here, but then we got a killer in Morgan against Wood. And then Shai Herbert against Chris Padilla. This kid, Chris Padilla, dude, I love watching this guy fight. He's like one of those. He's usually shorter, and I remember when he got this rear naked, just out of nowhere. I forget who it was against, but talk about energy in a bottle, kind of like Ryan Cafaro. How did I say it?
Cafaro.
I said it right. Yeah.
One for 16.
1 for 16. That's all right.
No, but
it's like Kevin Holland's record.
Yeah. So you watch a lot of fights, Jordan? I'm just kidding. You watch a lot of fights?
I like to think so.
Yeah. Is your electrical bill crazy?
Why do you say that?
Well, I'm just saying, if your electric bill's crazy, there's a company called Power.
Really?
Yeah, and they're giving away a free solar panel right here in South Jersey.
How do I get it?
Well, you got to enter. We have the link in the description.
Okay.
On the bio in YouTube, and they're going to be giving away a free solar panel.
Wow.
Yeah, and you could save tons of money on your electric bill.
That's
you know
awesome.
what I mean? So that you can watch more fights.
Wow, Power.
Incredible.
We appreciate you guys. Big sponsor of the show. Thank you, Power. And the last thing we got to end it on is our blue light knockout of the night. We didn't even talk about it. You know who's getting the blue light knockout of the night?
This guy right here,
Let's
baby.
go, baby!
This guy right here.
Let's go. So we're going to have the clip. Blue light dispensary. We're going to show the knockout right here. He described it very well. And blue light available in Woodbury, New Jersey and Gloucester City, New Jersey. We appreciate you guys. How you feeling, Ryan?
I feel great. I'm on cloud 9. Probably because I'm on that blue light special.
There we go, baby. There we go.
So all right. So my last pick. So Jordan told me I had to watch Kavanaugh. What's his first name?
He's like some Irish. Lachlan Kavanaugh. Lachlan. Yep. There you go. Dr. Cafaro.
Because I can pronounce words.
What was his name? Anyways, yeah, I watched him. Dude can fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
And he's due for a knockout.
Yeah.
Like, he really is due for a knockout.
Yeah,
He definitely wants to finish.
Yeah.
I'm
So
excited
10-0, it's his UFC debut.
No, so he was on the Contender Series. I think this is his third UFC fight now,
Okay.
I want to say.
Oh, but before we bounce out, I just want to say, I know you're a big betting guy.
Yeah.
So I just had to bring this up. I did one big sports bet.
Okay.
The first sports bet I ever did.
Let's
I put an 8-fight parlay together when it was when Cody Garbrandt fought Thomas Almeida.
And it smacked?
And I put 4 underdogs and 4 favorites, and it was a $20 ticket, and I won $4,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dr.
That's a big
Cafaro
win.
over
Yeah,
here.
and then I never did it again.
No?
Never again.
So what You got anyone you want to shout out? The floor is yours for the next minute and 30 seconds.
Shout out my son Calvin.
Heck yeah.
Love you so much, dude.
Love that.
So yeah, that's my guy. And
you got him doing pull-ups or what?
It's funny. When I lay him down, I grab his he grabs my fingers and then I pull him and he goes and tries to do like a little TRX row. It's pretty, it's pretty fun.
I like that. My son does the same thing.
Really?
Like, just go straight up, but they bring the feet up.
Yeah, he's doing like a assisted setup or something. I'm like, this is cool. But yeah, and then and shout out my wife Shannon. Couldn't do this camp without you, Jesus. So
do you guys ever fight? Be honest.
Like spar?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Really? Yeah.
Has she ever hurt you?
100%. Wow. She's got the nastiest.
Shout out to Shannon. Springfield alumni.
She's got the nastiest teeps. Her toes are like barbed wire, dude. And she just stabs you, and it hurts. She teeps harder than the average like.
Will she ever catch you walking around the house and just catch you with random teeth?
I mean, randomly we'll just walk by and just kind of like sock each other in the stomach. Just like,
dude, that's a healthy relationship. I don't care what anyone else says.
It's a good time. I like swept her once in the garage, and she was like, "You swept me." I was like, "Are you okay?" She goes, "Eh," and then sucker punched me in the gut. Oh, I was like crying laughing. It was so funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate having you.
Hey,
brother.
thanks so much for having me, guys.
Thank you,
Hopefully
brother.
next time is that Contender Series debut.
That would be cool.
Or short notice. Yeah, that's the next time we'll have you on after another knockout.
Yeah, that would be cool if we're on the same card in Jersey together. That would be
that's
sick.
very good potential that happening.
That would be cool.
There we go.
Yeah.
Tiki, Dana, sign this guy.
All right, guys. Tap out or cash out. Not cash out or tap out, as somebody else would like to say. Love you guys. We'll see you next week.